more wins. Currently, their kind of win-loss on sides is 8-10 on blue side, and well, now they are going to be 7-12 on the red side for Thunder Talk. We'll see what they can do, if maybe they can put a 9th one in the column. And immediately, LNG, they said, okay, you didn't ban all of the mid laners that we wanted. Cool. We're going to take Xayah for Gala, which is going to give him tools to be able to play. We're going to give Tarzan something a lot more aggressive than we've seen in the prior weeks, a Wukong here for him.
Yeah, and honestly, this is kind of a TT banning the Azir themselves is incredibly, you know, kind of concerning, if you will. They do get the Nico, and they do know that LeBlanc has been taken off the board as well, but kind of recognizing that, look, the Azir is just in such a strong point in this meta that you cannot let anyone, especially someone as well rehearsed as Scout, to be able to pick that one up for himself. TT gonna keep locking in that top side and get themselves their jungle and their top lane locked in with the Viego and the Renekton respectfully. And now LNG, where do they want to try and bring their last pick here? I wouldn't even mind to see them go for, I was going to say their top lane pick, but no, they're going to go in with the Annie, get that old school combination. It feels old school now, how long it's been in meta, but the Annie and the Wukong, you know, just AoE burst to come down here on top of everyone on TT.
A lot of crowd control, especially for TT, who are incredibly short-ranged. This game so far is feeling like it's going to be very bloody. There's nobody that can outrange. There's not going to be an accelerated shock blast coming out from Fog of War. You have to get into the mix if you're going to be in this game for either side. Now, as we get into the second phase of draft, we're going to see LNG start to focus a lot more towards that bottom side. I like that Rakan ban coming out from Thunder Talk just to deny the Lovers duo from Gala and Hong. But now we need to start thinking, what are the actual top lanes that are going to be available for Zika? Is he going to be able to reach for that Jax yet again? Cassante, another champion that, yes, it did get nerfed, but we got to see a lot of good strength coming out from some of our other laners, and specifically Zika, who has been performing on this champion.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what they go for right now. The Alistar being locked away by LNG does tell to me that they may be going for a Rel first pick off of this next rotation. We'll see if TT do respect in kind. No, they're going to ban away this Jack, saying Zika had too much priority with that champion. They might actually wait to see now what the last pick will be, but I feel like for LNG, they've got the pick of the litter. They know how their composition wants to kind of operate. They've got themselves plenty of AoE burst here with the Annie and the Wukong, and of course, the later the game goes, the more those feathers will start to burn through people here on the side of TT.
Should be a support pick, but taking away the Cassante is obviously going to be very, very strong. I was going to say, where is Rel? We have not seen Rel yet. Rel not available for some reason until the last end of the draft. I think this champion is strong enough that you can just start taking it very early on. We'll see what Thunder Talk are going to be able to go with. If this is their last game, I think it would be kind of exciting for them to kind of pick up something a little bit better, but we're talking about 80 carries going into Xayah. There are still a ton of options. Varus for 1xN is something that he has been able to find the most amount of success with this season. I think 4-1 on the champion. And getting that Nautilus, we saw how well it was able to work for Gala and Hung last game. And now 1xN, you've got it. You've got R5. What are you taking it? You saw how confident he said, pick me it. Give me that Samira.
Yeah, wants the Samira. Wants to be able to make sure he's got enough going for him in the send up of a, you know, kind of like being AoE team fight. You've got plenty of Venn diagrams of death to come out here now for TT to try and make things going, and went all the way to the end of the draft, but I do not see a world where you do not pick this champion right now. Zika should be picking this one up, locked and loaded, and LNG, they're going to be fighting fire with fire. They're looking to try and go contest the TT in those kind of big team fights, and for TT, they have to make this work. The Samira has to pop off here with the Nico.
Okay, all right. They have an all-in comp. We said at the beginning that this game was going to be low range. With the first three that we saw from both teams, that everybody was going to have to get in. I think fights are going to get sloppy. There's not going to be any long range. There's not going to be no stance having between these two. We just got to go in. We got to go all out in every single fight. And for LNG, it is one last game for them to not only lock our playoffs for our 10 teams, but to go forward with their record, go 11-4, or sorry, yeah, 11-4, and start to potentially to contest TES up there.
We'll see if they can make it work. Both teams are locked and loaded. TT cannot keep. We will keep stating this until they are dead. They have to win. They are still alive. They're on life support. And there is a very large man ready to pull out that plug very, very quickly on them as LNG hover over them in their deathbed. But can they pull off a miracle? Can they come back to life and raise themselves up again? It's not even fully in their hands. They could win this. They could 2-1 this, and NIP could just win 2 games, and it's all over as well. Still plenty on the board here for the side of TT to try and think about, but for the moment, they just got to think about this one game. They got to think about how this one's going to go. And for LNG, they're still looking to solidify themselves as a top 3 team in the league.
For Thunder Talk, I think, obviously, when you look at their record, they've been some of the most promising. But it feels this split, and maybe Ishin, you can kind of illuminate this for me as well. But as we've gone to the end, all of our teams that are unable to make playoffs have been able to make runs into the last part of the split. They were able to, even if they were eliminated, they've had promising games. They've finally seemed like they've kind of gotten together what they've wanted as like a win condition for them. They're starting to feel a little bit more cohesive. But name of the game is you need to be winning. You need to be able to feel more consistent as the weeks go on. And unfortunately for all the rest of them, for the rest of the 6 teams that have not been able to make it, it was just too little too late, and that could be the same for TT.
Yeah, they could be part of the 7 who don't make it, unfortunately. It's just the way the game goes. Look, unfortunately, in a league format, in a way that this kind of works itself out, it does become a, there are winners and losers. There are teams that you feel like deserve it and don't make it. It's just the nature of things. TT this time around, going to be aggressive on this level 1, get themselves up into that blue buff. They did sweep away a ward as well, so they know that they have been kind of caught out on this. There should be a fairly decent idea here by Tarzan that he knows what's going on, so might see some vertical jungling happening between these 2 junglers.
Big notes for me will be how both AD carries keep themselves alive. There is no way for 1xN to actually avoid a Tibbers stun if it's going to land on him regardless. There's nothing that the little wind wall that he has, the spell shield available to him, that will be able to block anything. And K'Sante, same thing. So I think Samir actually has such a hard time, and even if they are going to find a kill into someone like Gala, he has the Featherstorm to be able to escape. You have this Rel who is able to peel for him so well. For Thunder Talk, you're going to have to get ahead early. We're going to have to potentially see one of these laners. Someone maybe like Beichuan now on the Viego is so aggressive and early invades already. Tarzan is going to enter the bottom side of the jungle. Not only that, but get spotted and then realize there are no camps for him to take. And actually maybe even feeling, kind of sensing that out and immediately just doesn't even cross the river or cross his side of the lane. He just goes straight into the top side.
Goes straight in, does get spotted, so he knows that Tarzan is going to be walking up towards this top lane. Hoya just making sure he knows what's going on right now and just going to back himself away. Maybe actually think there's a full invade happening, so Beichuan immediately making his presence known. They don't see him anywhere here, so they're just going to assume that he's gone off and going to go try and get himself bot side. I mean, this is pretty detrimental for Tarzan because he's only going to get 3 camps.
They get level 3 here on the bottom side. They're trying to get that final knockup. That ward in the Pixel Brush in River was a pretty big game changer because not only were they able to spot Tarzan, Hoya with this advantage going into the K'Sante, much different than the matchup that we got to see versus the Jax, and crashes his wave, moves down on the bottom side, and now Tarzan has 4 camps. He's going to take this bottom side scuttle. Beichuan will be able to take his side of the Raptors and not even care about his wolves, go and just protect his jungle camps up against Tarzan. So level 4 advantage. His bottom side can even come with the fact that, hey, there's a lane that's going to be crashing, right? Like, Tarzan can do nothing in this early game. And that's what we saw in game 1. The opposite, though, for Beichuan, where he got cut off from his bottom side camps, and there's nothing for him to do.
I love this from Beichuan and TT. I love that it starts from an early invade. They get the information down. They also covered for the counter. So really, really well done here. And you can see it's a double. It's literally, double the CS now for Beichuan as he looks to try and maybe make something happen. Bot side Hong is going to be able to try and CC down. They may be able to turn this one right back around. They need to be very careful. Here. And there's going to be Tarzan coming in on top of this one here. Yao tries to get away, but he gets bonked down. And TT, it was going so well. They even TP'd Ucal here. He's on a minion as a minion. I don't know if it's going to be much to really do anything here. I mean, yeah, they're going to recognize now that Ucal's here, and this is just disastrous. What's such a good start. They were holding so well.
That you just didn't need to go for that fight. Samira has so little damage in the early game if you cannot find all of those marks. If you cannot utilize the passive to keep people in air for crowd control, that is the big difference maker. Ucal not having level 6, I think the TP is just desperation. They want to make sure that that play goes their way and actually overforcing, noticing that the bottom side, they have to find it. There has to be a win here for them.
I don't think there is. I just don't think there is. This is just starting to look a little bit desperate. All of a sudden, the miracle is starting to become a delusion because this is just not going to work like this.
If there are children for some reason in the audience, please look away. This is just not great. This is what pure desperation looks like. They try to find this play onto Hung, but I think the Glacial Augment doing so much work there, preventing damage and lowering it for the enemy team for Thundertalk, and the amount of resistances that this Rel is going to have early on just feels like you just weren't able to find the correct target. If we're going on to the engage support, you have to be finding that kill. So now for Thundertalk, we're looking at their solo laners, even with Ucal blowing that flat or blowing that teleport. He now has the ultimate that is available for them to actually make a play. And Hoya has so far had the most promising early start here in the second game.
So far, the most promising start, but I mean, promising is not exactly the word I want to be using for a team that is on the cusp of literally waiting an entire, basically 5-6 months before they would really take the stage again. That's how early it is. This is the thing. We're having such an early playoffs right now because of the Asian Games, because of the way the kind of, the schedule is working. We've had such a condensed schedule. We finished the regular split now on Monday. That's the 17th of July. Playoffs go until the 5th of August. And then that's it. If you're not going to Worlds, you ain't got nothing to do. Flash in, gonna get themselves a little bit of damage down with the scout, but I mean, you had Hung on the backside here. I just feel like, again, TT just desperately trying to make something stick.
They're trying to find damage. Yao couldn't really find that hook onto Scout. Good play in the minion wave. Like you're saying, just a little bit of desperation. It will net them a dragon. I mean, Tarzan is on the top side of the map. We'll see what they're actually able to do here. I mean, the dragon's being started. Tarzan can run. Scout's not going to be here, so the best that LNG can really hope for is a turn play where they're able to find something after this dragon is taken.
Well, maybe they look for something now. There's going to be a Hex Flash there on top of Hong, and he should get CC down. No, never mind. He's a Rel, so he's going to be fine. A flash away, but the Tibbers comes down. You get yourself the dragon, but you give over another kill. More gold going over to the side of LNG. And I mean, TT, I like that they're trying something here, but it has an air about it that it's just no matter what they try, no matter what they want to do, it's just not going to work.
Not only that, but then you also have to think, like, are they getting in their own heads a little bit? Like, now that every play isn't working, like, now do you play even more defensive? We see this play where the fact that Hung lives for so long and escapes as well, you can see how they're just trying to get away. 1xN, we talked about it. There's a lot of CC that he's not going to be able to block. I think picking Samira was a very daring try, but you're going into Wukong, into the Cassante, into Rel. None of this is going to be interactive for you. You need to stomp the laning phase for it to really have an effect. Now Tarzan, level 6, he saw that early game and was like, just a mere speed bump for me on our road to being top 3.
Yeah, 1xN has a cleanse, but no flash. So he is probably going to die if he stays, but thankfully the wave was pushed up and he now has to give it up. He has to walk away from this, cannot let this one just kind of happen. I mean, I can't really blame him for getting getting thrown behind because Yao went mid. Yao's trying to make something work with this Nautilus, but it's just there's nothing to find.
Okay, respect to him. Like, not only did they see everybody and he saw that he's potentially getting dove. Hold that now. Hoya and Zika going at it. Just going to be ultimates. Just going to be brawlic wet noodles happening up at the top side. Walks up for that wave. Now, for TT, this has been a disaster. Let's just call it a Sheen. It has been LNG stomping them for a little bit right now. Not 9 minutes. It's been pretty bad. Pretty sad for them, but they have been able to grab the objectives. A Rift Herald here for Beichuan, and now they're able to even get the Dragon alongside that. They need to be able to turn these into leads. Let's see what they're able to do with this Rift Herald. Maybe they get some plates in a mid lane. Maybe they just use it so that they can move into one of these lanes, get their bottom lane back, or even play for Hoya's advantage again. They're the most even right now, and in terms of game impact, top lane has not been the most important this year, but if there's any time for him to stand up and stand out, it's now for this team.
I mean, it's now literally or never. You don't get a choice right now on the side of TT, but for the moment, they're not a million miles away. They got a dragon. They're only a couple of 100 gold down. Stop being less on you and more on me. 'Cause I'm not a believer in miracles, but gotta stop being so negative. Not gonna help him out in any way, shape, or form by being negative. If I want to be part of the believers, gotta start believing. But it's getting tougher and tougher to really see how this team comes back into this one. We will see just again Gala having free reign on this bot side to just out CS, out range, and out DPS pretty much everything that 1xN wants to do because he just can't step up. Like, what's 1xN supposed to do here? His Nautilus is off in La La Land.
He's waiting, right? Like, the wave is going to crash regardless. He actually misses none of this because Gala was like, we need to get this wave under the turret, threatened for the dive. Nautilus will actually return. Yuyanjia doing what every solo Q support will not do for me, which is make sure that they're there in time for the wave to crash. Fantastic job for them. But now LNG, they'll get the reset. Gala should finish the Kraken Slayer or get very close to it. And Beichuan still has that Rift Herald. I forget that Rift Herald timer is bugged on Spectator client, so it's just going to look like it has 2 charges. He should have a few more minutes. There's a plate going down. I mean, it's 11 minutes. He only has 2 to 3 left before he really has to make a decision and plop that down. Dragon spawning in a minute. Maybe they try to make a play for this. Again, if they lose this Dragon, then you have to think LNG are going to be taking this almost whole-handedly.
Well, Ucal. Gonna see if anyone wants to count the minions. Does LNG count them? Does Scout count them right
now?
All
right, well.
Yeah. Well, I try, man. Look, I think we've gotten to a point now where I feel like everyone thinks they're Yagao. You're not Yagao. Yagao is the best Nico in the LPL, in my opinion. I just feel like the guy is just a monstrous on this pick.
He got a whole mechanic removed, man. Like, there's no more
He's not allowed to yeah, I actually don't know if we announced that officially. You're not allowed to helicopter as Nico anymore in the LPL because of Yagao. Yagao was doing it so much that they were like, you know what? No, we're not allowing that anymore. I believe it was because it was actually quite distracting to the Chinese feed. So they were like,
the two
maybe
things
not.
that the helicoptering did was, one, it gave you a little bit more vision because of some fun Z access, but also it had a lot of it's still a champion at the end of the day, so it was actually also able to minion block people, which did have some effect in the games. I don't know why they decided to remove that. Just sounds like something that you should just remove from Nico in general, but also probably break the clone. Dragon spawning, they're going to grab the Rift Herald here. I love the circumstances that occurred with it. Zika has all out. This could be a solo. Not going to be it. Okay, he invited a referee who was like, hey, how are you doing the helicopter trick so often? He's like, come to my stream. I will show you tonight.
It's all part of the ins and outs of the LPL. Second Dragon does go to TT, so nicely done there by them as they look to try and get themselves back into this game. Nicely done so far. Zika just kind of having a bit of a free time to kind of farm up in this top lane as Hoya went for a bit of a reset. Again, like I said, TT are not out of this one just yet. It is an Infernal Rift, though. Plenty of power to be garnered here by either LNG or TT if they can start those dragons stacking, but TT just need to calm themselves down. Don't need to go for crazy engage on that bot side. You do have the Just Blade of Draktar now and a full plate of Summoners, so maybe now in the next few minutes we might be seeing a little bit of a fight happening around this Samira.
And now let's see what they're able to do around this mid lane, because I'm getting confused because of the minion waves. Ucal distracting right there. If they're able to push out of mid and then move that over, you're already seeing how LNG are starting to take control of vision. Scout can move with his rel, move down, start to clear out vision. Dragon spawning in 4 minutes does mean that there's not going to be a play for them, but LNG now, they need to be playing for dragons. They need to make sure that they can stop TT from stacking. If they're able to grab the next one, then there's a bit of a problem. 30 seconds before the Rift Herald, we're seeing resets start to come in. We're seeing that the AD carries are swapping. Yuyanjia will now start to put down vision. And Annie will have to invest the teleport here, which, if you are on the side of TT, you're looking to use that. Even if you don't get the Rift Herald, being able to take that summoner spell away from you could end up being impactful in the next coming minutes.
Wait and see. Yuyanjia putting a little bit of vision down in the LNG jungle around that red buff. Seeing if he can maybe catch somebody out. That Rift Herald should be easily confirmed now by the side of TT, but what else can you get on the side of LNG? You know, the rules of the world, the physics. There is always an opposite and equal reaction to every action you do, and it's the reaction gonna be Scout gets this turret on bot side for free.
TT wish that was true for them. They were like, okay, well, you know, like they get 2 kills, we want 2 kills. Like, can we get something on the opposite side for us, guys? Where's our opposite, equal and opposite reaction? It's not true for them. It's not coming true. At least for right now, they have been able to pick up objectives, which is impressive. And you saw it there on the bottom side of the screen there. 69% of first turret rate. They are still second in the league coming into this series, and it comes off of the domination of players like Scout and Gala.
And we'll wait, see how it all kind of ends up fanning out for the moment. Nothing too crazy to be happening between these two teams. Again, very similar to what we saw in game number 1. There wasn't a big fight until about 16, 17 minutes, which was against that second Herald, so not to happen for the moment. 2 minutes until Dragon spawns. Beichuan trying to leverage the fact that he does have a little bit of an advantage here over the jungler of LNG, has his upgraded smite and has a level lead as well. But Tarzan, you know, hasn't really dealt with him, hasn't really gotten near him, to be perfectly honest, since that moment. He kind of said, okay, look, you get your Triforce, happy for you, no bother whatsoever. I'm just going to wait until I can get myself back onto an equal playing field.
And most of that is actually just going to be experience, because you see right now that there's all the difference right now. Okay, now he's actually spent his gold, it is more meaningful. Hoya, okay, look away. Wait, nope, nope. Machine, it didn't happen. Machine, it didn't happen. We didn't see that. It's okay. We didn't see that. The observers, they did this to care, and they've been doing this all the time, this split, where they're pointing out some of the mistakes of our team. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen. A minute and 15 before the Dragon. We're just going to say when we get to the Dragon, I wonder where their ultimates have been.
I mean, that's 2 TPs, that's 2 ultimates, and it's like, oh my lord. Anyway, the ultimates will be back before the Dragon. But yeah, I mean, you can see just how much LNG are just kind of toying with TT right now. TT just desperately looking to try and get something going for themselves, and now because of those double TPs, your solo laners are on the solo lanes. You don't get to defend this turret right before this Dragon. This is just LNG going back to the macro masterclass.
They get 2 turrets now for themselves, and they have complete control of this river. I mean, look at how littered it is with red wards from the side of LNG. Really, for Thunder Talk, it is very shallow, and the biggest thing for them is the fact that Hoya did kind of have a small flank here, but it's not going to be anything meaningful. Barely is able to take 400 HP off of Zika. We'll see what they're actually able to do. Maybe they trade this Dragon and say, hey, we've gotten the first 2. We're going to use this as a kind of springboard for ourselves, a bit of a cushion. Because, hey, the game is getting away from them. It's only 2,500 gold, and we are obviously expecting for LNG to be able to win this with how dominant they have been in this series so far, even if it is only about a game and a half at this point. But now, they're taking more and more turrets. The Dragon actually hasn't been started. And TT, they have to be careful. If they can just drag them into this fight, LNG are going to be at a small disadvantage here. Hung being at half. That's a great job from Ucal. That's the engage potentially being stopped.
It's a great job. He is healing up, though. Has some pots to burn. And is trying to do that right now. TP going to be coming in here off the backside of this one. As everyone just try and makes their way into this one here. Tarzan did take an extra camp because he needed his upgraded smite. Now up to 1,200. No real kind of 50-50 to be, or a disadvantage in the 50-50, I should say. Ucal tending to be his jungler for the moment. Tarzan maybe looking for the fight, though. Yeah, they're looking for it. They're going to try and maybe burst on the Hong, but there's the Magnet Storm right in. They will burn down the Rel. The Pop Blossom onto 2. Okay. They've got the Samira to do the damage, and finally TT get themselves an opportunity, and they get themselves a decent fight. They'll get themselves on the soul point as well.
They were trying to get pincered, and LNG, all they needed to do was buy time for Tarzan. But Thunder Talk, they're like, all right, well, Tarzan, either you're going to come out of Fog of War versus us, or you're just not here for this fight. They get a 3rd Dragon, and TT, not only do they find 2 kills, they even up more and more of that gold. When you're in this position, when you think you're going to get flanked, you just need to go onto the weaker side. And right there, Thunder Talk, they call their shot, immediately find all of that damage onto Hung that was before the Dragon. So now, this is a much more even game. We've finally seen Thunder Talk wake up.
Finally waking up, finally getting themselves back onto the map and finally seeing a win condition in their eyes. They've got themselves Soul Point. That will be available now for them in 4 minutes time, just over that. And this Beichuan pick has been working really well. The Nico as well. Maybe it's just too OP for LNG to let anybody have their hands on it, especially someone like Ucal who's having such a great split. 9 MVPs here for a Ucal throughout the split on the TT. Again, 9 MVPs for a team that's 5 and 9 is so damn impressive because, again, you don't win very often when you're 5 and 9.
That just means that 9 out of their 10 games that they won were off the back of his MVP. That's it. Well,
yeah.
That's if they won.
Maybe.
I guess you could get it for a series that you also lost. The math doesn't add up there. That's why you don't do math on broadcast, everybody. That's just a flub on my part. For the side of LNG, though, they're going to just say, look, that was a small mistake for us. We did lose out on the Dragon, and they will be called to action. 3.5 minutes from now, the Dragon spawning. LNG will have to show up. Let's see what the side of ThunderTalk are actually able to get during this. A lot of it was mid-priority. And if they can try to clear out vision with Zika also pushing off on the top side here, there's a very real potential for them to start this up. They have a lot of damage for Rift Herald. Between Rel and her kit, we saw her being in the jungle. Gala and Tarzan have so much available to them. Getting that flash out of 1xN is so important.
Yep, just cost the Hex Flash and, of course, the Magnet Storm, but you will take that any day of the week. While it's happening, though, you do have Hoya just split pushing here, putting a presence on this bot side. Won't be able to confirm the tower, but will almost get it. Pretty much confirm next time he's left alone on that for another, 30 or so seconds. Scout will be the one to deal with that for the moment as he's the one with the TP. But again, despite the way this game has gone, TT are still behind in gold by a little bit, by about 1,000, and they are still waiting to see if they can keep Hoya, or sorry, 1xN kind of alive in these matchups. Because look at the CS difference in that ADC matchup. It's huge. Like, it's 70 CS between Gala and 1xN right now.
I did want to call to attention some of the item completions that we are getting here. Hoya now finishing his second item has the Sterix, so more and more of that drain tank where we want to see Renekton getting into the backline, getting into the mix with all 5 members of LNG, and then having a Gore Drinker, being able to survive for so long. Very close to hitting level 16. Should be only a few minutes away, and a lot more farm under his belt will get him there. But that bottom lane advantage, I mean, 70 CS means that Gala is now working towards his third item. Already has the Navori and the Kraken Slayer. Opposite side, though, Beichuan has a very similar advantage going for him up against Tarzan. And if Beichuan's able to get that Death Dance like he's building towards, very real that we see this champion. It's actually a Black Cleaver. He has so much HP. He's going to be very tanky, as well as being able to get right into that backline. Has a lot of damage, so all of those resets that we want to see from ThunderTalk are going to be online.
2 items across the board. You now have the Collector here for 1xN. Definitely feeling a lot stronger in that one. You can see so many low health bars tend to be the detriment to Samira's as they look to try and execute everyone off. But again, like we said, Gala has the Navori quick blades with the Kraken. You're building up to Scout, getting himself that Zhonya's Hourglass. And honestly, it does feel like in the passive moments of the game, when there isn't an objective to go for, it is LNG just making the smarter moves. They'll get a turret on this top side just to kind of trade back for that one in the bot lane. But TT kind of picking up the pace a little bit. I like this from TT. Finally getting themselves some momentum in that mid lane and taking down that tier 1.
Good job from ThunderTalk, able to find a small moment there where LNG just weren't able to protect their mid lane. I mean, Scout's on the side lane trying to push out. And for the majority of this game so far, it has been funneling Gala. It has been, hey, we're dropping camps. Tarzan is actually not able to take advantage, full advantage of all of the treats that he has. Scout has Flash and is kind of looking, did have that first strike. It's those 30 seconds before. Take account as to whose flashes are up. 1xN the only one not available. Remember, it was that play in the mid lane. And if this comes to bite LNG or TT back, this is a huge win for them. Maybe for the side of LNG, they don't even try to fight for this. You're seeing Hoya sitting on the top side. The top laners are going to be fighting over the mid wave. Do they just try to go for this? No flash.
They're going to go for a Tarzan already taken very, very low
Wow.
after a Cyclone. I mean, I think Tarzan was just a little too quick on that trigger. Really didn't need to go for that full kind of fight. Now they're going to jump in onto Hoya, try and burst him down. He does have a flash, but can he get away? That is the question. I don't even think he wants to. He knows he's dead to rights. They're going to give over that soul. Dragon is done, but then they can turn for Baron. You don't have Hoya, but he will be up in 40 seconds with a TP.
I don't know if LNG can do this. They're going to try and force this Baron. Zika now sitting in Fog of War, trying to see if he can find a flank. No one from the side of LNG
They shred this.
necessarily knows that they're doing this. Now they'll be seen.
Yeah, gonna jump onto Yao Yao, maybe try and burst him out, drag him back into the fray. He will get his ult off before he dies, but again, you're still building up time. Hoya will get it back into this fight with a TP if he needs it. I mean, I think LNG recognize they just can't go for this play anymore. They get 2 kills, but an Infernal Soul. Scout.
Oh, Scout,
maybe
Scout,
thinking about something.
Okay.
Oh, not quite able to make anything work there, but 2 kills here for LNG. They do lose the Infernal Soul, and they can't force this Baron any longer.
Machine, are you feeling the magic? They lost game 1. It was not even close. We could be 100% truthful, and we've seen some mistakes from Thunder Talk. But aside from that, they have had full control of this side of the jungle. They're now having a soul in their back pocket. I think the one worrisome part here is now there's an Elder Drake that could be spawned, and if LNG want to fight for it, they grab that objective, that could very realistically turn the game here. But Baron now, the final catalyst, with the Dragon being 4.5 minutes away, Baron, a single pick could be make or break for either of these teams, considering how close it is.
So very, very tense here for TT. I will say Tarzan not having a great performance here on the Wukong. 60 CS down and 2 levels as well. Does feel like they just weren't able to make that Annie, for the moment, haven't been able to make that Annie Wukong combination with the Tibbers and the Cyclone kind of come to fruition. But with time and with presence, we are seeing a lot more damage coming out here from Gala. He's almost got himself the Lord Dominic's regards. And with the Zika getting so tanky, it's starting to feel like, you know, again, TT, they're going to try and force around this Baron, make sure they can get themselves some kind of advantage and force LNG into a fight before they hit critical mass.
So far, Tarzan has 7 games on the Wukong, tied with his Viego and Maokai, and is 3-4 on the pick right now. Hoya potentially getting caught out. Everybody from LNG, they want to make this play.
Yeah, I mean, they got to go for the Cyclone, get the Starks out of him as well. So this is huge here for LNG. They're getting the stopwatch to bite. I don't know why you do that there. Yeah. No one's there and no one's forcing Baron. That's just such a panic button press here from Hoya. Keeps his flash, still has his TP, but I mean, that stopwatch is invaluable, no longer available.
Oh, and TP now coming in. They want to start up this Baron immediately now. Ucal, look at where his vision is. Will finally potentially get spotted out, and is a Trin. Oh my God!
Yeah, he's dead. We've seen this one before. It's pick into pick, but now you've got all 5 members healthy here for TT. Beichuan and Ucal have to be the winners, have to be the ones to keep this one alive. If you lose Baron right now, this could be your season. Ucal looking to be a nuisance. They know that he is the Nico, and the Baron has gone down. Can they get the fight after a Beichuan has to flash away as LNG are feeling the momentum. A flash from Ucal to stop the knockback from Zika, and oh no, Ulk. It's all falling apart. They got the Infernal Soul, but they haven't been able to do anything with it.
Oh my God, it's a single moment of hesitation with Hoya getting caught out there. You saw members of TT start to move into the top side of the map, but it was a single moment, maybe Hoya calling that I can survive, and the rest of TT saying, let him go, let's try to push out through mid lane. And in that moment right there, we could see it in the minimap here. I love that we're getting a replay of this. Everybody starts to move up, but maybe there's a Rel here who is stopping people from walking in. And right after the stopwatch, you see that they're moving. Beichuan is hovering in this area, and right there is when LNG are able to turn this game on its head. That pick onto Yao Yao as well means it is so difficult for Thunder Talk to get back into this game now. 3,000 gold. It feels like those 2 kills, those separate deaths onto Hoya, might be what causes them to now lose out on this game and get locked out, end their season early here. With how close this was, you have to imagine that every single death on either side feels like, could this be the end? Could this have been the game-winning or game-losing play?
TT, you have to hold steady. You have to hold firm. Yes, you did lose the Baron, but it's a temporary buff. It's not permanent. You have the Infernal Soul. You have all of the engage tools possible. You just need to coordinate, my dudes. You just need to figure out what you're going for. Let Hoya die, or, you know, go for a Baron pick. Twice in a row, we've seen Hoya and Yao Yao picked off in separate kind of incidences. And yes, you know, you have an Infernal Soul, but it's no good if your damage dealers aren't there. And now, with an Elder spawning in a minute, this is where the game starts to become very flippy. If you don't secure this, if you don't get around this, you're just done.
And the one shining grace here for LNG is the fact that they took that Baron. The timer on it is going to match Elder. So this entire time, TT, they're going to have to push out waves. They're going to have to, in particular, catch waves very far up on LNG's side if they want to be able to have them push. Ucal trying to disguise himself as a caster minion. He immediately spots himself out. He stops. It's that hesitation. Now they're corralled.
Now they're corralled. Oh god, it's all flailing. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing. Hoya will TP in and immediately lose about a quarter of his HP. Half his HP. Never mind.
Oh my god.
I mean, this is panic. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know where they're going. Hoya's separated. They know where he is. They're going to be able to burn him out again. It's the third time potentially Hoya gets caught out, but he does have a GA, gets the dominance popped, and now he's no longer got that ultimate. Without that, no TP, no way to reset. This Elder's going to go to LNG TT. It's, oh god, it's desperation.
The Elder Dragon is an impartial judge. Oh my god.
Here we go, the impartial judge, but they're going to be able to get the damage. The Pop Blossom is going to be good enough. No, I'm not quite sure. It's a 2-for-2 trade for the moment. You can see Gala and Scout still doing very well. Flash away by Gala.
Wait a minute!
Finally goes down as 1xN goes in. A TP in. It's the Cassante and the Annie versus the world. Hoya has to keep his team alive. Hoya and Ucal trying to see if they can deal with this Cassante. A flash forward onto 1xN. A Scout maybe has one more Q. He has the Inferno trigger, and then finally getting it done. They're looking for a little bit more, and all out onto Ucal, and he gets shut down. Zika keeping LNG alive on this Cassante. They start the Elder, but nobody's going to be taking this Dragon buff right now. There's going to be resets coming in. There's going to be TPs available for both mid laners. I think both teams just want to back away.
Oh my god, Thunder Talk, they do not want their season to end here. Game 2, it is only getting closer and closer. And you have to imagine with how close this gold lead is for LNG, that maybe the Elder Dragon is making a small difference. 1xN has been able to finish items, doesn't have his flash, but a stopwatch available for him. Same thing here for Beichuan. Our junglers will come back out onto the map. And Beichuan so close to level 16. With that, he will be able to reset with Heartbreaker so often in fights, but it takes a single kill. Now, TT bursts to the play. LNG, they have their TPs, and he's coming in.
And so is the Nico.
There it is.
This is it. 8,000 health on the Elder. This is your season. This is your moment, TT. You have to win this flip or you're going home until 2024. Here we go, the Pop Blossom.
Oh, you
is massive! Can they confirm the kills? Yes, they can! And TT will not be dying just yet. They want a Game 3 and they want playoffs.
They have done it. They are making it to Game 3. And Ucal, the carry, he has been the man all season long. He cashes it in here on the Nico. A massive knock-up. LNG, TT, we're going to Game 3. They're going to try to end through the bottom side of the map.
Oh, what a fight there. Tarzan might be able to kill Yao Yao. Flashed there by the Nautilus, but they've got enough minions. They've got enough damage. TT, by the skin of their teeth, by the fingertips, the nails, constantly holding on, will keep their playoffs alive. But my God, you can see the stress on them there. They know it was a struggle to get even just the one win.
We said it. We had it at the beginning of the game. We saw how the first 15 minutes were going. We were saying